And we thought up our plan of we're going to wholesale some homes. And that was the start of a very painful 5 to 6 months of cold calling for our first deal. But that's the origin story. And it's the truth. I mean, there wasn't a lot of thought to it. And I always tell people when they're getting started, like the most important thing is that you just try to do a deal of some kind.
Yeah, I agree.
Everyone starts focusing on, I'm going to do Section 8 or syndication, or I'm going to do development or multifamily or fix and flip, and just do it. Just do a deal. Just get into action.
I have that program. It's called like firstdeal.com, right?
So
I'm like, just get the first. I went on an hour-long rant yesterday on this call with them, and I'm like, it doesn't matter if you make money the first deal. Like what matters is you get the first deal. Like don't lose money, don't be dumb, but like get something, just because that's going to build your confidence, that's going to build your education.
I sign out every podcast with the phrase, "You're only one deal away." And because it just changes something in your brain when you source a deal for anything, and you pick up your check and you did it all yourself, it permanently unlocks something for people that I think changes their life forever.
Well, speaking of first deal, the firstdeal.com question is, how'd you get your first deal?
I got my first deal after 6 months of calling a title and escrow company. My parents upstairs were in with my buddy. He dropped out of school, stopped playing on the University of Washington football team to cold call.
You ruined his life. He could have
He might tell you that these days, actually. If you're watching this, I'm sorry, Paul.
He could have been a Seahawk, and now he's a real estate guy. Anyway,
I have no idea what he's doing now, so he could be right. But so I eventually we got my mom, who was an agent, and people always go, my whole family's been very helpful in my journey, and I think everyone out there, there's some weird mental state people get into to not ask people for help, whether it's family, friends, whatever, in a healthy way, obviously. And so she had this client. She's like, "Hey, I'm going to give you a shot to sell it off market." So she had this client who had a deal in Ballard, Sunset Hill. I've never done another deal like this. Talk about the coincidence of when you dive into something, it tends to work out. I was like, hey, I went to this developer guy that I met. I said, hey, if you buy this house and you build up 2 stories and you build a sky bridge across to an ADU on top of the garage, it's going to be a great deal. To this day, that house is sitting there untouched. She's sold 4 times. It did not go well for the developer, which that's my first deal. I was just trying to get a deal done. And we made $105,000 on that deal.
Wow, on your first deal.
And I was like, somehow at 18, 19, I sold this guy the dream of turning this normal house into I don't even know what you'd call it. I've never. Yeah,
that's funny.